Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. My name is Jordan. This is your 60-minute yin sequence. I'm so excited that you're here. Tonight's sequence is designed to bring a little bit of balance, a little bit of space to the fall meridians. So, in traditional Chinese medicine, we have pathways, energetic, that move in different parts of the body, throughout different parts of the body, that are responsible for bringing balance to different organs. And then within those pathways, there's also some energetic, emotional things associated with those spaces. So for autumn, for fall, we are focusing on the lung and the large intestine meridian, which run lungs, chest, heart space, front and back, your side body. And the large intestine meridian will be focusing on some twists and getting into the shoulders a little bit. So as far as props, I'd recommend having a couple of blocks. We will be coming into a supported fish and starting in a comfortable seat. So if you like to have blocks for your supported fish, feel free to grab a couple of those. For me and my yin practice, I like to use a bolster. It's just a little bit of a more comfortable way to conform to the back body in something that can be kind of an intense heart opener, opening to the chest and supported fish. So I prefer to use a bolster. I'd also recommend having a blanket. You might not be able to see mine. It's right under here, underneath my seat. And that's where we'll meet in a comfortable seat. Taking a moment just to arrive. Maybe you're still setting up your space, putting on some instrumental music or nature sounds, something to appease the senses, maybe a special candle. If you're like me, I like to have some mood lighting, so little fairy lights, something to bring a little bit of soothing to the nervous system as we create space physically, maybe energetically, maybe emotionally. As you find your comfortable seat, I invite you to close down the eyes or soften the gaze. We won't be here for too long. Just taking a moment to check in. Maybe this is the first time all day you've really had a moment to be intentional with your presence with yourself. And bring a little bit of softness to the face in whatever way feels supportive. Maybe that's bringing space between the teeth, unsticking the tongue from the top of the mouth, or deepening the breath. Noticing if physically this has an impact on any tension or gripping in the body. Maybe that inspires some energetic, emotional, or mental ungripping as well. And as you breathe here, I invite you to imagine the breath traveling up the left nostril on your inhale, across the brow, down and out the right nostril on your exhale. Inhaling, breath travels up the right nostril, across the forehead, and exhaling down and out the left. You can begin to elongate your inhales and exhales, dropping your pin here with a balanced breath. And as you're ready, with the gaze soft or the eyes still closed down, we'll inhale the hands up high, maybe fingerprints touch. And on an exhale, with the lips sealed, draw the thumbs down to the heart space, Anjali Mudra, letting all of the breath out. Inhale to reach, gather the palms together up overhead. And with the lips sealed, exhale through the nose, thumbs through the heart space. If you have an intention for your practice, something you'd like to dedicate this time to, feel free to bring that to mind. Maybe it's a word, a feeling, a special person, a pet. And on your next inhale, sweep the hands up high overhead. Biggest breath you've taken all day. Press the palms together. And exhale out the mouth. Let it go. Thumbs through heart center. Exhaling your intention out into your space as if it is already so. And we'll flutter the eyes open, coming on back to the four corners of our mat. And we'll make our way into our supported fish, getting into the chest, the heart space right away. If you'd like to bring your blocks to make a little T or an equal sign where the head and the shoulders will be, you're welcome to do so. Or you can join me in placing a bolster where the length of your spine will be. If you don't have a bolster, a rolled up blanket, or even a big thick pillow also works great. And when you're ready, begin to recline onto your support, whatever you've chosen. I'm going to go ahead and set our timer here. We'll be holding our supported fish for about 4 minutes. And as you breathe here, bring an awareness to the center of the chest, noticing its rise and fall. Bringing a little bit of extra awareness, extra special attention, bringing the mind's eye to this blooming, expanding of the lungs with new and nutritious breath. Notice if we're gripping or holding anywhere in the body. And allow softness to take up space. Maybe we begin to soften through the back body. Notice if we're still trying to hold ourselves up in space here. And invite a gentle surrender to the pull of gravity in the presence of a therapeutic and sustainable sensation. If there is pain or anything that could be considered sharp, add a prop. Bring the earth up to meet you, or make an adjustment. And return to the breath. Begin to bring awareness to fingers and toes. And take one more full cycle of breath here, maybe inhaling all the way from the low abdomen to the tippy top of your collarbone. Pausing at the top and exhaling to sigh it out the mouth, let it go. Bringing a little bit of extra awareness to those last bits of exhale as it travels out back into the universe to be recycled. Go on to wherever it's meant to be. If you have the legs out long, bring a bend to the knees. And we'll tuck the chin, press into the forearms, slow and steady. Begin to bring yourself back upright. And we'll move right into our second shape, our caterpillar, our seated forward fold. So if you'd like to bring a blanket underneath the knees or the hips, you're welcome to do so. You can also take your bolster, if you're practicing with one, or your pillow, place it over the tops of the legs, maybe resting here, hinging forward. Or you can even bring a block underneath the forehead, or hold yourself up with the palms, whatever feels more supportive. We'll be here for about 3 minutes. You can always keep a nice bend in the knees, maybe again bringing something underneath the knees just to take that effort out of holding ourselves up in space. Sending a signal to the muscles that it is okay to invite a little bit of softness here. Breathing into the back body. Allowing the hands to rest wherever feels comfortable if they're not holding ourselves up. Maybe let the head dangle or support the forehead with a block. Bringing awareness again to that space between the teeth. And unfurrow the brow. Allow the tiny muscles around the eyes to gently release. And notice if we can soften a little closer to the earth here. Take one more full cycle of breath wherever you've landed. Again, inhaling completely, maybe imagining you could bloom the back lobes of the lungs with breath. Opening through the back of the heart space. And on your exhale, sighing it out, letting it go. Bringing awareness to that extra bit of breath that leaves the body. can wiggle the fingers and toes. Begin to walk the hands back in towards the hips. And we'll slowly lift. Maybe head comes up last. And we'll take a moment to maybe circle the nose in little crescent shapes or big full moon circles. Maybe you'd even like to loop the shoulders once or twice. And we'll bend into the knees and begin to windshield wipe the knees just gently from side to side. And when you're ready, allow the knees to drape to the right. And we're going to move into our twisted deer. Well, we'll have an option to twist. So for your deer shape, you might like to have the legs at more of a 90-degree angle. It might also be nice to bring your bolster over to the right if you want to try out a twist, maybe a block or two over on that side. And so we can also have the heels a little bit closer in. For me tonight, my left knee is feeling a little bit extra sensitive. So for me, it feels a little bit better to have this more of a pinwheel shape with the heels a little bit closer in. And when you're ready, when you have your comfortable deer base, your deer legs, we have our option to walk the palms back, resting on the hands or the forearms, maybe for a little bit more of an opening through the front line of the body, as we also get a little bit of an opening in the hips, or we can begin to twist to the right. You may have to adjust your base. So we're twisting to the right, coming to just the outside of our right thigh. You can walk the palms forward if you'd like. Maybe resting on a block or a bolster. Noticing how it feels to approach sensation with a warm curiosity in these shapes. So we bring a little bit of balance to not only the physical body, but also the energetic body. Creating space for new inspiration, space for joy in these shapes, and maybe clearing out things that no longer serve, so that we can fill that space with things that will serve us as we travel throughout this season. Keep in mind, you can come out of a shape, you can make an adjustment at any time. This is your practice. If the breath becomes constricted or we feel restrictive in the way that we're breathing, maybe we deepen the breath, slow it down just a bit, back out of the shape just a bit, and use the breath to deepen our connection to sensation, to ride it out like a wave, and take what you need. Take one more full cycle of breath here. Inhaling completely, siphoning the breath slow and steady into the body. And exhaling, letting it go. Exhaling all of the breath out. And you can press into the palms, walk the hands back in, either lifting the head back over the heart or unraveling from your twist. And we'll flex into the feet, maybe spread the toes and find that windshield wiper motion one more time. And allow the knees to drape to the left, setting up for our deer on the second side. Again, maybe you'd like to twist. If you would like to twist, you're welcome to bring a bolster. Maybe you might have to find a little bit of a readjustment here. We set up for the second side. Maybe this side is a little bit unique. That's okay. We can still cultivate balance in the body, in the mind, by doing two things that maybe don't look exactly the same. When you're ready, give yourself what you need to feel fully supported in your upright position. And either walk the palms back to hold the torso up in space. You can also come down to the forearms if that feels supportive. Again, keeping in mind we're not chasing sensation. We're moving right to where we believe the end range of motion to be. Or maybe approaching that and taking a step or two back to find something therapeutic and sustainable. And we also have our option to twist to the left. So bringing the fingertips to just past the top of your left thigh. Maybe even walking them forward, more of a diagonal. Or folding over your bolster, with your bolster kind of in line with your left hip. And your twist might look a little bit different than my twist. It might look a lot different than mine, and that's okay. This is a practice of exploring your own individuality here, embracing the space that you can create with every cycle of breath. Take one more deep breath in here. Slow and steady, allowing the breath to create just a little bit more space. And exhaling out the mouth, noticing the heat of the breath as it leaves the body. You can press your way back up from wherever you landed, moving slowly with your body, with your breath, and we'll flex again into the feet, begin to knock the knees gently side to side, maybe taking the legs out a little bit longer. Taking a moment to point and flex, giving yourself what you need here to bring a little bit of life back to the physical and energetic pathways to the body. Becoming curious about sensations in these in-between shapes. And we'll make our way down to the belly, taking any props off to one side. I would maybe recommend having your bolster over to the left-hand side. If you are practicing with a bolster, maybe a block over on the left-hand side. So we'll have an option to come into a supported laying chest opener. Sometimes it can be nice to bring the earth up to meet the top leg instead of taking the knee or the toes behind the body. You know, for me, sometimes I can get a little bit of pinching in my low back. So it can feel better to have the feet stacked or even the top leg in line or supported by a bolster. Either way, we'll meet in our crocodile shape first, taking a moment with either resting one cheek on the earth or stacking the palms or the fists underneath the forehead. And give the hips a little bit of a wiggle. Find some deep belly breaths here, compressing the abdominal organs. Inviting a little bit of a massage to this area of the body. When you're ready, you can extend the right arm out to the right, either to a T or a cactus shape. A cactus shape might intensify this just a little bit. You can also have your right elbow maybe a little bit higher than your right shoulder. Some micro adjustments here to get yourself settled. There's a sweet spot, I'm sure, that you can wiggle yourself into. For me, my right shoulder is feeling a little bit sensitive. Got a lot of sensitivities going on in my body today. So I'm using a lot of props and making a lot of adjustments. So feel free to do the same. And when you're ready, you can begin to take the left toes either behind the body, the left knee bent, or you can join me in reaching for a bolster or even a block to place in front of the body. And you can rest your left knee on that. Maybe even bringing something underneath the right ear and cheek. Allowing the left hand to rest wherever feels comfortable. Breathing into the right lung. Opening up through the chest, maybe compressing the right shoulder. And if you have the left toes behind the body, maybe opening up through the hip. Or bringing out the sponge of your spine, of your midsection. Begin to steady the breath. Notice the way the earth comes up to meet your body without judgment. And carry this notion into the way you approach sensation. Take one more deep breath in here. Noticing the chest rise, the torso expand with breath. And exhale, let it go. Maybe sigh it out. Noticing the body soften, a little closer to the earth. And to come out and press into the left hand, gently guide the left toes back through center and slide the left leg long to meet the right. And before we take it to the second side, we'll find a little counter shape. So bringing the forehead to rest on the back of your left hand, elbow bent, or you can always take the left ear or cheek to rest here, and reach your right arm long to rest beside the body. Option to bend into your right elbow and bring the back of the right hand to the low back. Just letting the shoulder rest in an opposite shape. Taking 5 steady breaths here. You also have an option to bring the earth up to meet the right shoulder if there's a lot of tension there. Maybe bringing a block to support can be a really comfy option after that laying chest opener. And when you're ready, you can bend back into your right elbow. Release. If you'd like to take your bolster over to the other side, now is a great time to do so. And we'll move into our laying chest opener on the second side. So taking our left, just gonna move my microphone over here so I don't squash you guys. Sorry if it gets a little click clacky as I make that adjustment. You can take your left arm out to the left. Maybe rest on the left ear and cheek. And then again, you can have your left arm long or maybe in a cactus shape and take the right toes up and over. Maybe you stack the ankles or rest the right knee on a bolster in front of the body. Just to take some of the effort out of holding ourselves up in space here. You can also use the right knee as a kickstand in front. Taking what you need from this shape and coming home to the breath. Take one more full cycle of breath here. And as you're ready, we come back the way we came, through center, and we'll find that same counter shape on the second side, or a variation of it if you'd like to do something a little bit different, maybe resting on one ear and cheek, allowing the left arm to extend long beside the body, maybe bending into that elbow and allowing the back of the hand to rest on the low back, softening the glutes, bringing in awareness to any sensations in the left shoulder, front of the chest, or anywhere in the body, maybe the mind. Begin to make your way back through center. And we'll press to a seat towards the top of your space. And we're going to move through a couple of different variations of saddle pose. So a couple of different options. If you have a blanket or a block, it's going to be a great place to start your journey. May also be nice to have a bolster handy to bring behind the body, because with our saddle shape, sometimes we lean back. So we're bending into the knees, starting in a kneeling position, either seated on your block or with your blanket over the backs of your knees, the backs of your thighs, over your calves. And then with that option, you can walk the palms back any amount, really lifting the tail, curling it towards the backs of the knees and releasing it back down so we're not putting too much pressure on the lumbar spine, the low back. And this is a wonderful place to pause, to take some deep breaths into the front of the chest, the heart, the hips, maybe the knees as well. Keeping in mind anything that could be described as sharp or painful, we always want to add a prop or make an adjustment. We don't want to be sitting in anything that could be painful. But a little bit of sensation, just a therapeutic amount of sensation in the body is okay and to be expected in a yin practice. If you'd like, you can join me in taking the seat towards the earth between the feet, so kind of in a hero's pose shape, Virasana base, tops of the feet rooted into the earth, and begin to walk the palms back, maybe coming to the forearms. Maybe we rest the back body on our bolster. So lots of different options, different variations of this shape. Find the one that works for you here. You can also choose to remove the bolster, and if you'd like, you can rest the back body on the earth if that's what's calling to you, if that's what is feeling the most supportive. Just keep in mind, we're lengthening the tail towards the backs of the knees, and notice if that has an impact on any sensation in the tops of the legs and the thighs. Taking some deep, expansive breaths wherever you've landed. Keeping in mind you can come out of this shape at any time. And we'll be here for about 5 minutes. Notice if the mind has wandered quite far away, that's okay. Gently guide it back to the breath. This is your touchstone. As you move on your mat, maybe even as you travel off your mat. We can continuously return to the breath to make informed decisions about how we'd like to move. We're calling that softness in the face, in whatever way feels intuitive. And embrace softness. Surrender to the pull of gravity. Take one more cycle of breath here in your saddle shape. Exhaling all of the breath out when you're ready. Bringing a little bit of an extra awareness to that last little bit of breath as it leaves. The temperature, the sensation of stale or stagnant air or breath leaving the body. And to come out, feet folded to the back body or resting on your bolster, similar to coming out of our supported fish, we press into the forearms, tuck the chin, press up onto the palms, and we all slow and steady walk ourselves back, shifting forward, coming to a kneeling position, just to kick the legs to one side, finding ourselves back on our seat and kicking the legs out long. And we'll take a brief counter shape here. I highly recommend taking your bolster and placing it underneath your knees or your rolled up blanket. Coming into a more restorative variation of our caterpillar shape. We won't be here for too long. Just to counter that really deep heart and hip opener. Can also feel like maybe a lot on the knees, at least for me. And just hinge forward any amount. Maybe taking a block underneath the forehead. You can also sit up tall here. Maybe rest the elbows on your block and gently cup the eye sockets with the heel of your hand. Finding a moment of pratyahara, breathing into the back body. As we move a little bit closer to Shavasana, to rest. Inviting a little bit of stillness here. Quieting the mind by inviting softness. Surrendering to the pull of gravity a little bit more with every exhale. As you're ready, begin to make your way back to an upright position. And you can take your block, if you had one, off to one side. It might be nice to bring a blanket as we make our way down to the back body. You're welcome to keep your bolster here underneath your knees or your blanket underneath your knees. And just find a nice slow roll down. Maybe bringing your blanket with you if you want to cover up for Shavasana. I don't know about y'all, but my room's getting kind of chilly. It's getting kind of chilly. That might be a nice option. And just find any adjustments that feel good. Bringing the back body down to the earth, maybe lifting the back of the head, tucking the chin, releasing it back down, inviting some space in the back of the neck with the knees maybe supported. A little bit of lumbar spine support here. Maybe a blanket covering the abdomen for a little bit of added nervous system support. Just a little bit of added energetic or emotional security here as we take this time in quiet rest to integrate this practice, to integrate the space we created. Maybe even reflect on our journey here if you'd like. Allowing the breath to return to a natural cadence. Maybe the lips gently part. The eyelids become heavy. As we settle in to a stillness not born from rigidity, but from a gentle presence, being with yourself here in Shavasana. And the next time you hear my voice, I will be guiding you out. You are welcome to stay in your Shavasana shape for as long as you'd like, but I do want to respect your time and let you know the end of our hour is approaching. So if that's your cue to begin bringing the body back to wakefulness with care, I invite you to deepen the breath. Bring in awareness to the air on your skin, ears listening to sounds nearby, wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe you stretch out long and curl in tight, giving yourself a big squeeze, taking your time to make your way to one side or the other. We can find a comfortable seat together and take a cycle of breath to close out this practice and celebrate the past hour spent in community doing yoga and honor the decision you made to fill your cup with this practice of presence and stillness and breath. You can join the thumbs together at the heart space, perhaps recalling your intention for this practice. And as you're ready, take a deep breath in through the nose. Pausing at the top, maybe take an extra sip of air just for good luck. And exhale out the mouth, let it go. Sealing in the benefits of this practice and inviting them to come up off the mat with you as you move into the next chapter of your day. Thank you for sharing your time and your practice, not only with me, but with each other. It's always a treat to be here to be your guide and share this time and this space with you all. Thank you and namaste.